This is Shifting Our Schools, episode 66. COETAIL plus University of Kentucky equals a hot ball of mess.
Listen up, educators. Are you looking to take your classroom to the next level? The technological shift in education is happening right now. If you're looking to integrate technology into your classroom, you're in the right place. Welcome to Shifting Our Schools with your host, Jeff Udick.
Welcome back to Shifting Our Schools. Thank you for listening, and welcome back to another school year. The last of schools start today, Wednesday, and it's been great to all my friends and colleagues, of course, have been going back to school over the last couple of weeks, and today seems to be the last day, this Wednesday after Labor Day here in the U.S., that everybody is back to school. With some of you, it's been a month already, which is crazy to think about. Some of my international friends have been in school for a month, while others are just starting the first day. Either way, thank you for making Shifting Our Schools part of your professional development for this school year. We are so excited for the new school year, mostly because we have some amazing things planned over at Eduro Learning to help support teachers throughout the school year. Yes, we have to find a way to make money, and thank you to everyone who has supported us by purchasing a course or signing up for some of our paid products. But as you know, we continue to try and create content to give away free to educators. We are all educators ourselves. We understand the importance of free. And so our hope is that we can create value for you by giving away a bunch of our products for free throughout the school year. And we have been creating products all year. Our next person up is Chrissy, and you're going to be hearing from her shortly in a podcast. But Chrissy Hellier is from New Zealand and lives in New Zealand. And she is our premium mentor for the Connected Educator Micro-Credential. And that is where we are focusing the beginning of the school year. The beginning of the school year is such a great time to start thinking about what are those routines you're going to be putting in place so that you can break down the walls of your classroom. We know that technology can break down the walls of your classroom. Now, what are the routines and systems you need to have in place in order to make that happen? And that's where we're focusing the beginning of this school year. As you know, we are always giving away free stuff here on the podcast over at my company, edurolearning.com. And to get started this week, for the first week where everybody's back to school, we've got some great stuff for you. So this week, we are going to be giving away a PDF called 3 Simple Ways to Connect Your Classroom. It's a quick PDF, 3 simple ways. What are those routines? What are the things you need to be thinking about now in these first couple weeks, this first month of school, to get your class to be connected so that you can use those connections all year long? The beginning of the year is so important to set the routines that you can use all year long. So this week's free PDF, 3 simple ways to connect your classroom. Of course, when you download our PDF, you also sign up to our mailing list, which we give away free PDFs in our email. You're going to want to be a part of our email mailing list. There's a blog post, and there's more YouTube videos to come. Kim Confino just launched a new podcast called Coach Better for all of you TOSAs or coaches out there. Fantastic YouTube series that she's putting together. If you go to YouTube, you type in Eduro Learning, you're going to find Kim Confino and her Coach Better podcast. We're just trying to create so much content to help educators to start this year off right. Also, to start the school year off right, we are discounting one of our courses, and to start the school year off, because it's all about starting routines, we're going to put a discount, a flash sale on our course, Integrating Digital Citizenship into Your Curriculum. Integrating digital citizenship into your curriculum is now just $15. $15 gets you a free course that loaded with content and videos and links to resources. So once again, you can start thinking about, if we're going to connect our classrooms outside our walls, we need to be thinking about digital citizenship. What are those routines in this first month of school that need to be in place to allow this to run all year long? It's so important to set those routines early, and that's what this focus is. So, free PDF, 3 simple ways to connect your classroom, and a $15 course, Integrating Digital Citizenship into the Curriculum. 2 great ways that we are hoping to support you as you begin this school year. Of course, you can get all these resources over at edurolearning.com. That's EDURO learning.com, or on our podcast website, sospodcast.org/CE, the letter C and the letter E for Connected Educator. And of course, all the links are in the show notes. So if you click on the little I or the little show note button there on your phone or in your podcast player, you should have a link to all of these resources as well. I'm so excited. School's starting. Kids are going back. School buses are out. It's such a great time of the year. And this week, I sit down with Lissa Layman, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction at Eduro Learning, to talk about the exciting news that we broke last week on social media that our Micro-Credential COETAIL, and COETAIL stands for Certificate of Education Technology and Information Literacy. You're going to hear in the podcast, we got started with this certificate back in 2009. So we're about to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. And what a great way to celebrate our 10-year anniversary than to announce some exciting news that we have now partnered with the University of Kentucky, and COETAIL plus Kentucky is worth 1/3 of a master's degree. So you can now get 2 certificates. You can get your COETAIL Certificate of Educational Technology and Information Literacy, and a University of Kentucky Educational Technology Leadership Certificate at the same time. The assignments will count towards both certificates, and if you would like to, it also counts towards 1/3 of your master's degree. So you just think about everything you can get in there. You get a certificate from us, you get a certificate from the University of Kentucky, you're getting credits towards the pay scale, you're working towards a master's degree. It's unbelievable value. And we've been working on this for quite a while. You're going to hear all about this in the podcast. And Lissa is the perfect person to explain it, as she is the only person that we know who is both graduated from COETAIL and already graduated from the University of Kentucky master's degree program. So she has the vision of how these two are going to overlap. And you're going to hear from her today and a little bit more about who she is. So 2 certificates, 1 program. We're so excited about this, and I really wanted us to be able to dig in, and I thought a podcast was the perfect way to do that. So enjoy Lissa and I diving deeper into how and why the University of Kentucky and our COETAIL program works and why we're so excited for it. And with that, have a great beginning of your school year, and on with the show. All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited that today we're going to just be having a great conversation with Lissa Layman, who is the Curriculum and Instructor Director at our company, Eduro Learning. And for the last couple of months has really been focused in on updating our COETAIL program, which is Certificate of Educational Technology and Information Literacy. If you shorten all those down, it's COETAIL. It's not the best name in the world, but when Kim Confino and I and a bunch of other educators from the International School of Bangkok started this in 2009, we were not thinking 10 years down the road. It's hard to believe COETAIL's been around for 10 years. We probably would have chosen a different name, but it is what it is at the moment in time. But we're just here to talk about last week. We had a big announcement over at Eduro Learning with COETAIL, in that COETAIL, the certificate program, is now in a partnership with the University of Kentucky School of Education, where you can get 2 certificates. You can now get your COETAIL certificate alongside at the exact same time as getting your certificate for, help me with it. Is it Certificate of School Technology Leadership, right? Yep. School Technology Leadership. And it counts towards a master's degree. So there's so much here that we want to unpack while we chat with you. But to get started, I want to introduce everyone to Lissa and have Lissa kind of tell her story from classroom teacher to part-time employee at Eduro Learning. So Lissa, welcome. And let's hear your story. Where did you come from? Where are you at now?
Yeah, so I actually had a little bit of an alternative route to education, because I never thought I would be a teacher, because my family was all educators, and I was like, I won't do that. And then moved to South Carolina, and it turns out there aren't really many jobs there for people with a chemistry degree and a French degree. So the school where my husband was teaching, they needed a French teacher, and so 3 years later, I had my certificate to teach French and chemistry. And so we were there 3 years, and then we decided we wanted a little adventure. So we moved to Kuwait.
Nice. That's always a good adventure. South Carolina to Kuwait.
To South Carolina to Kuwait, nice. Yeah. So that was a really amazing experience for us because I had the opportunity to, what I felt like was doing was giving back, and step out of the classroom and become an instructional coach. Because my first 3 years teaching, the two positions that helped me the most were those coaching roles. And so I was just so excited to be able to go and give back to what I had gotten. So I was there for 6 years. And during my first 2 years in Kuwait, after leaving the US, I had my like US PLN. All my French teachers. It was awesome. And then I moved abroad and I was like, wait, who's like me? And we had a couple of colleagues at our school who were finishing up the COETAIL program, and they were in course 5. And so my husband and I both started COETAIL in our second semester.
Yeah. You took it the same time, right?
Yes, we did. Yep. Yeah. And it was awesome for me. I had been blogging already, so that aspect wasn't mind-blowing for me, but it opened up the world of of international education to me.
Yeah. Awesome.
All of like the connections that I was able to make, everyone in my cohort. So I was, able to take my PLN that I had already formed and then just create this whole new PLN. And it was awesome. Like the coaching position was brand new in my school. So we were really wrestling with like, what is it like to be a tech coach? Am I an instructional coach? What is this role? Yeah. And so just being given this PLN, like I really did feel like it was just like a gift handed to me of these like hundreds of educators all over the world that were willing to support me going through this transition.
And what year did you guys take it? I don't remember what cohort.
We were in the 13-14 cohort. Okay. So we were even before it was like online 1.
Yeah. So I think this is a good time for me to just kind of like fill people in on like where COETAIL came from. Cause you're one of those, like you were second online cohort. We had no idea what we were doing. So kind of like to kind of break up Lissa's story here to tell you how this all kind of comes about to where we are now in this partnership with the University of Kentucky. In 2007 or 2008, I'm trying to remember now. In 2008, 2009, I guess it was 2009, Kim Cafino, Chrissy Hellier, and myself, along with a couple other of our tech coaches at the International School of Bangkok, Dennis Harder and Chad Bates, got together, and we were all tech coaches or in some kind of tech role. Chrissy was, I think, 4th or 5th grade teacher at the time. And the school came to us and said they wanted to run this part of a master's degree for the teachers around technology. We were getting ready to roll out a one-to-one program. And so we looked at this curriculum that came from the State University of New York, Buffalo State. And it was really, really dated. It was like I'll never forget, like the first course you took was named computer or micro-computers in the classroom. Like it had not been updated in a long time. So we went back to the admin and said, we'll run this, but we need to update this curriculum. This isn't going to fly for what we're doing here at the International School of Bangkok. So we worked with SUNY, with State University of New York, to basically write our own curriculum and have them sign off on it. And we took, in 2009 and 2010, we took almost 80 teachers at the International School of Bangkok through the COETAIL program, which stands for Certificate of Educational Technology and Information Literacy. And so we created this certificate. Didn't even call it COETAIL at the time. It was like the tech certificate, right? And then in 2010, word kind of got out that we were doing this at the International School of Bangkok, and other schools started hitting us up. And so we ran a cohort at Taipei American School. We ran a cohort at Seoul Foreign School. We ran a cohort down at NIST at the New International School in Bangkok. And so other schools were asking us to come in and do the same training because we were seeing such amazing, powerful transformations of the classroom through the trainings we put together. And then in 2012, we decided, Kim and I Kim went to Yokohama International School. She transferred to Yokohama International School, ran some COETAIL cohorts at Yokohama. And I transferred left International School of Bangkok and started doing full-time consulting and thought, you know what, this works great if there's 25 or 30 teachers in one school that want to go through it. But what do you do for the 2 teachers in Kuwait who don't have an administration that supports it, or can't get 25 teachers to sign up? And so we decided to move the whole thing online. And so we ran a cohort. Our first online cohort was 2012, 2013. And then you were 2013, 2014 cohort. And I think after that, we decided like, okay, well, we've got to figure out. So we changed, we came really, really good. Cohort 1.
Right. Online 1.
Online 1, yeah. Online 1, online 2, right? Genius with the naming conventions we were.
So great.
Yeah, we were horrible with naming it COETAIL, and we were horrible with naming the actual cohorts. So, but it all worked. So it was great. Like, you're that second year of online, but it was all about being public, building that PLN. I love listening to you talk about that. Now, how long were you guys in Kuwait? You were there for 4 years?
6 years.
6 years. Wow.
Yes.
And you had other teachers go through the program as well. Can you kind of talk about like, the transition?
Yes.
Coach?
Yeah. Some of my colleagues were 12, 13. So some of them were like first ones. And then we did 13, 14. And then we tried to get a Kuwait cohort. Yeah, and we couldn't get the 25.
Right.
So we had, I don't remember which online they did. My sister was also in Kuwait. And so she completed with a couple of several other people in Kuwait, did online, maybe like 5 or 6, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. We've had people from Kuwait come through.
Yeah. And so it was really great to be able to, like, as the school was moving towards having tech coaches, and kind of grappling with what that role is, simultaneously having people go through the COETAIL program. And we had people at all different levels going through that. So we had classroom teachers, we had our curriculum coordinator, our PYP coordinators. So it was really powerful to be able to talk to teachers, but then also other leaders, and have them understand what we're trying to do as coaches in the classroom. And that kind of like that trickle effect that within the grade levels, within the school, because we had so many different people from so many different places understanding the importance of it.
And I think that's one of the things I love about this partnership with the University of Kentucky is their certificate of school technology leadership is that leadership part. Like, if you want to become a coach, a tech coach, or you are a tech coach, also in COETAIL, we've had superintendents go through the COETAIL program. We've had principals go through the COETAIL program. We've had assistant principal to be able to take that leadership stuff. If you're interested, you want to be a grade level team leader, or you want to be a department team leader, here you can get these 2 certificates, understanding the practicality of what does it mean to teach when every kids have devices in the classroom, and then also the leadership research behind it. To me, that is that's what excites me most about this new partnership.
Well, and that's what I started COETAIL in 2013 and loved it, enjoyed it, decided I didn't want the SUNY masters, but I wanted to find a different masters, because what I was really craving was
What happened? Uh-oh.
Oh.
Are you back? Hello? Hello, hello, hello.
Can you hear me, Jeff?
Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Hey, you're back. What was that?
I don't know. I have no idea. All of a sudden it said it's unstable. So.
Oh, geez.
Shoot. Where did I cut off?
You cut off where you were talking about, I remembered it and then I lost it. And I was trying to figure out what happened. You were talking about the, and I can splice this in, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
You were talking about
I can just go back because I was just talking
about that you were halfway through COETAIL and decided you didn't want to do SUNY, but wanted to do another master's.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I started COETAIL, was going to do SUNY, decided that I didn't want to do SUNY because I really wanted something that would help me as a coach in that leadership role. So I went out and found the University of Kentucky randomly by myself. And I'm so glad I did. I started the master's with them in my second semester. So during course 3 and 4 of COETAIL. And it was really, it was a little bit overwhelming for a year when I was.
Yeah, you're taking like 2 master degree courses at the same time.
Because they weren't connected at all. So none of my assignments overlapped. Nothing overlapped. And this was also, 6 years ago. So the courses are 4 or 5 years ago, but the courses are different than they are now too.
Yeah.
So and the programs are a little different. So it was very not overlapping and a lot, but wow, like so transformational for being able to be introduced to the research side of things. Like, here's what the real, like, empirical, like peer studied, journal articles say about using technology in the classroom, and also at the same time leadership.
Right.
And then here's this practical application where I can go and I can share everything that I'm learning, and I can apply and share everything I'm learning.
Yeah.
So like I was with COETAIL, I was a little bit missing like that more research, and I got it through UK. With UK, I was a little bit missing that public forum, and I got it with COETAIL. So for these to combine is like so amazing.
Yeah. And I remember when you were going through the program, it was just like, I remember like your blog posts were like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what we were talking about in this other program. And that's part of the reason why I love that, Lissa has taken the lead within our company, Duro Learning, taking the lead on this, having gone through both programs. You're literally the only one in the company that has the vision of like, you've been through COETAIL and you've been through this Kentucky certificate program to see how these are going to mesh. And the thing that I love is what you just said is you were taking 2 separate programs and none of it overlapped. Yeah. And what we're doing, and this is where it's been such a great partnership, is looking at where are those overlaps and where can you do one assignment and tick things off of both certificates. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be able to get this, a certificate through the University of Kentucky that, if you would like to, leads towards a master's degree, and also get your COETAIL certificate. And you're going to be doing a lot of assignments, not all of them. Like the university's got to have their thing. We're going to have our thing. But a majority of the stuff, you get to tick 2 boxes with one assignment. And to me we all know that teachers are pressed for time, and time is everything. But to be able to get 2 certificates with one assignment, to me is just like, yeah, sign me up.
Right.
And so you guys were in Kuwait for 6 years. And where are you now?
Now we're in Beijing.
Awesome.
So my husband, Jeff, is working at the International School of Beijing. But after a year and a half of working for a Duro part-time and working full-time at my school in Kuwait, and also I coached athletic coaching from September until May last year, I decided I needed a little break. So it's been really, really awesome this year to be able to really like dive in and feel like I have time to do the Duro and COETAIL work justice, because it's such an important, it's just so important. Like, it's so in my heart that I've kind of felt like I've been slacking the last year and a half. And so now to be able to really dedicate all my time, and be able to like be here for this partnership. And like, I loved my professors at University of Kentucky. So to be able to reconnect with them on the curriculum side of things, and to be able to take this semester and dive into the COETAIL curriculum and kind of revamping that, because we haven't done an update in a little while.
Yeah, and the standards have changed.
Exactly, right? We've got new ISTE standards, and we've got new ISTE standards from the students, the educators, and the education leaders. So to be able to look at all these new standards and the University of Kentucky and take this semester to figure out where they match and how they go together and how we can best make these 2 programs complement each other. Like, I'm really excited for the rest of the semester. And
when just for everybody that's listening or watching out there, when she says new to Beijing, like after we hang up, she's going to look for an apartment. So she doesn't have a permanent place to live yet in Beijing.
No, like my life right now is like a Duro, and COETAIL, and then apartment hunting.
Yeah, I love that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's so good. And one of the things that I love, and you touched on this when you took COETAIL too, is this idea of building a PLN. So many times, and I hear it all the time, and it drives me nuts that, people, teachers, everyone is just like, oh yeah, technology, it's supposed to quote unquote break down the walls of the classroom. And then I talk to teachers and they're like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, yes, because you don't have a PLN. You're not a connected educator yourself. And
Yeah.
for you being in Kuwait, that was a big part of COETAIL. As somebody who does a ton of consulting with schools, especially here in the US, you take the COETAIL program, you're instantly connected to somebody in Beijing, China. You're instantly going to be connected to another educator teaching third grade in Kuwait, or teaching French in Kuwait, or teaching, your PLN grows instantly. You literally, by the end of course one, have broken down the walls of your classrooms for your kids. And to me, that is, if you get nothing else from the programs, that right there, to me, is the power of it.
Well, I think you can see our dedication, like Aduro's dedication to being a connected educator, through also our the connected educator, the connected teacher,
the whole micro-credential
right?
on it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's a part of COETAIL, and it's super important. And it's what I loved being connected, but I was already connected a little bit. So it was also a little easier for me to find new connections.
Right.
And I like that we've also done the connected educator, because that maybe people who have never been connected in any way whatsoever, ever, that is like an intro for them.
Yeah. And that micro-credential is kicking off now, right? So
yeah,
stay tuned. We're going to be talking more about this whole, our whole next thing is being connected, and what's it mean to be a connected educator, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that micro-credential if you're just getting new to this. And this is who's this for? I keep coming back to who should take COETAIL with this, the ability to get this amazing tier 1 research university certificate from the University of Kentucky. In your mind, who's the teacher that should be thinking about taking this?
I would say anybody who is an aspiring or emerging teacher leader. So if you think that maybe you might like to be a grade level leader, or, a coach, or any level of that teacher leadership, or if you are already a leader, I was already in a leadership position, I just really needed something to help back that up for me and figure out, go through a program that was going to help me define what is my leadership style, and how am I going to be a leader, and what does this actually look like in practice. So I think whether you are ready to go into leadership, or you are already there and you're like, I just want a little something more. So kind of everybody. Is that fair?
Everybody that has technology in the classroom with kids, right? Yeah. And I think the same thing. For me, I'm thinking if I was, this last August, I did all these keynotes and helping these schools who are getting ready to go 1-to-1. And I'm thinking, man, if I'm a department leader, if I'm a head of department, I'm looking at how do I lead that department, down to what you're talking about, what is my leadership style? What does that look like? And having a foundation, knowing that my school district is going 1-to-1, having a foundation in that pedagogical understanding of what does this mean and how do I help lead my department forward. Anyone that thinks that they want to be a department head leader or grade level team leader, no matter what grade you're at, this can only help, I would think, solidify your resume. And when we're talking about resumes, that's the other thing I think to think about too. International teachers for sure. COETAIL started with international educators, and COETAIL itself is very well known in the international world. I every recruiting season, I have administrators who reach out to me and are like, hey, this person says they took COETAIL. Can you tell me about them? And there are administrators that if you're at a school that's 1-to-1, look for COETAIL certified teachers. I don't think it can hurt you to have that on your resume.
No, for sure. And it's been kind of fun, coming to, we're at ISB, we're in Beijing, probably because of our COETAIL connections, because
Yeah.
we, Jeff and I went through 13, 14 with Julie Lemley.
Okay.
And Julie is probably the main reason that Jeff got the job.
Yeah.
So at least she let us know that was available.
Right.
She, put a good word in with the admin. And then we also, also at our school is Clint Hamada,
Right.
and,
Who's a COETAIL instructor, right?
exactly. Right. And several people that we were in Kuwait with are here, but one of them also went through the COETAIL program. And so it's just, I'm like, we could have a COETAIL meetup just at ISD, and like,
Yeah.
there would be like a good chunk of us.
Yeah.
So, it's really fun. Like, when I go to conferences and there's a COETAIL meetup, and it's like, you're just instantly connected to this community of people that you all went through the same experience. And so
Yeah.
even though you've never talked to them, you still have that deeper connection.
Yeah. And I think it's really hard, I think, to explain that exactly what you just said there and the power of those connections. And I think part of the reason that it's so hard for like myself and Kim and Chrissy and you, like we just live this way. Like you're in Beijing, I'm in Seattle, and we met for another half hour before we started recording this. Like this is just a work for us,
Right.
is on Zoom in a Google Hangout across time zones. We're just,
Right.
and so many people.
Before this, I met with Marissa, who's in Seattle. As soon as we're done, I'll get on a call with Marissa in Seattle, Kim in Bangkok, and Chrissy in New Zealand. So, right, like it's just normal life for us.
Yeah. And so I think it's really hard when people hear that. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's just business. Like this is just the way work gets done, and you can do it from anywhere. And how do we prepare kids for that? And how do you as a teacher make this normal? How is it normal for you that when a teaching colleague says, oh, what did you do today? You're like, oh, I had my kids Skype Beijing. Or we had a hangout call with, a class in France because we're studying X, Y, and Z. I mean, you can do it.
And I still go back to like, it's one of like it's like stuck in my head when my husband and I, our first semester in Kuwait, my sister was doing her student teaching in Michigan.
Yeah.
And we like Skyped in from our house, like from our apartment in Kuwait to her first grade classroom. And they, like the kids, we were like showing them our apartment, and the kids go, they have doors. And so like for these students in Battle Creek, Michigan, who like she was working at a low income school, like most of them are probably never going to leave Battle Creek. Many of them are never going to leave the state. And they got to be in Kuwait and realize that like, oh, there's people and there's places on the other side of the world that are just like us.
I know, we're more
and
similar
that like I seriously like chills. Like I don't want to be corny, but like that gives me chills. Like to have students, like to be raising a generation that understands that we are all the same no matter where we are.
Yeah, I love that. We've talked a lot about the connections that you get in COETAIL. What are some of your other favorite parts of COETAIL? Like for me, I think one of my favorite parts is like we go deep into the idea of images and video and presentation skills. And, teachers have to create a new type of presentation that's actually based in brain research instead of bullet points on the slide with a cute little clip art. But I mean, that's one of my favorite. That's course 3 is all about visual literacy. What's another one of like your favorite like learning things that you got out of COETAIL?
I think like it's a little bit bigger picture, but I think I really like that. So the ISTE standards are beautiful and they're great and they sound awesome.
Yeah.
But what does that actually look like and mean in practice? And how do I, as an educator or as a coach or as a leader, how do I actually learn how to exhibit those and teach them to other people? And so I think that is, to me, what's so powerful for COETAIL is we're taking the ISTE standards and we're making them real so that you learn how to be like like an educator, right? An ISTE
Right.
standard. Like you get all those standards for the educator side. And then you actually can implement in your classroom the ISTE standards for students, because it's easy to look at that page of ISTE standards, but what does that practically, realistically look like in my classroom?
Yeah.
To when because you've got your other standards, right?
Right.
You've
Right.
got all these things that are pulling you.
Coming at you.
How do I integrate the ISTE standards for students to help teach those other standards that they're learning?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm really excited. Like I've loved that always, but I'm really excited now this semester to take the time to revisit those standards, revisit our curriculum, and look at our favorite activities like that in course 3. And we're, keeping what is true to the COETAIL program while also helping educators dive into those standards. And then what's really exciting is while we're in COETAIL going to be focusing on the ISTE standards for educators, in UK at the University of Kentucky, they focus on the ISTE standards for education leaders. So the way that we decided, which of our courses go with which of their courses, was looking at the 2 sets of standards and deciding which ones go together. Now those, they're going to complement each other. So we're really as we're realigning COETAIL, we're also realigning to the ISTE standards. We're also realigning it to the University of Kentucky. So it's the perfect time to be doing this and just making everything better and practical and real and based all in research.
Yeah. And I love that. You just listen to you, and I'm just thinking man, that is a hot ball of mess right there. And I'd love to have that hot ball of mess. That is so much there, right? You're hitting all of these standards from leadership down to educators, how to implement it to students all in one program. Checking things off your list, right? Stacking certificates, we call it stackable certificates. I love that. If you can almost vision these blocks of certificates in your head of here's my COETAIL certificate, and on top of that, I'm going to put another certificate, called certificate School Technology Leadership.
Yeah.
And then on that, you take a micro-credential from, the coach from Kim. You take another certificate, you could take another one, the deep learning certificate from the University of Kentucky, and you start to stack certificates that lead towards a master's degree. And to me, I love this move that we are seeing at the university level and getting to this idea of certificate stacking. And I'm so excited that we're a part of that as well. But yeah, it's a hot ball of mess. What you just explained is a hot ball of mess, man. And it's going to be rich. I mean, can you imagine the richness of that? That's just awesome.
When it's all figured out, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But
right now
here's what my what my life's going to be for the next 3 months now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody knows what Lissa's doing for the next 3 months, figuring out that hot ball of mess. And how does it all come together? So I love it. So just, if you go and look at the ISTE standards, that's really what this stuff is focused on. We talk about digital citizenship. We talk about presentation, visual literacy skills. We talk about just a lot of the pedagogy behind it, all focused on application in the classroom. So it's not like we just say, go use pictures with kids. We talk about what does that look like? How do you do that? And then you have to go do it, right? You've got.
I think that's what I've heard from educators, myself, but then before I even, became part of COETAIL and Aduro, what I heard from educators was that the COETAIL program it didn't feel like extra. Because what they were doing in the program was things they were actually able to then use in their classroom. And that's the point of it, is do this thing, then create this thing, then do it, and then reflect on it. And I think that's the other piece that we haven't talked about a ton, but the reflection in COETAIL takes everything to the next level, because it's not until sometimes you reflect on it that you get your deepest learning about that experience.
Right. I love that. You're right. I know we always forget about that, and much like most teachers, do you take time to reflect on your lesson today? I got a fly in my face. Sorry, it's just buzzing me. And I'm just like, what's up? But that idea of reflection is so important, right? We don't take time to actually sit and reflect. And that's what COETAIL forces you to do. We call them blog posts. You can call them reflections. But it makes you sit for a second and think about, how did that lesson go? What would I do different? How did I move forward? How did I apply my learning to the situation? And it's by far the coolest part. And at the end of it, you have a blog. You're searchable. You have, you're found on Google. Like, there's so many great things that come out of it. Like, you want a portfolio, your COETAIL, and we still have so many. We've graduated over 1,000 people through the COETAIL program, and so many people still use their COETAIL blogs because it's a great portfolio of, here is my learning. Here are the videos I've created, the lesson plans that I've done, the ways that I integrate technology into my classroom. And when administrators email me and they're like, oh, can you tell me about Lissa? She said she went through the COETAIL program. I just point them to your blog. I'm like, oh, here's her blog. Here's the video that she embedded that you can see in her classroom of her integrating technology. Here are her lesson plans. Let me know if you have any questions. Right? I mean, it's all right there. And that's the cool part. We talk about doing this with kids. Now we're going to force you, for lack of a better term, do this as well as a teacher. So I love it. It's so cool. I'm so excited about the partnership.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be great. As soon as you figure out that hot ball of mess, you let us all know. But it starts this February. So you will have the hot ball of mess figured out with Kentucky. You're not doing it by yourself. It's so good. Like you were saying, you get to reconnect with your professors over at the university, and we're all working.
And I have such deep respect for them, and I learned so much from them that it's now such an honor to be able to connect with them on this different level. They're amazing. I love the University of Kentucky now.
Yeah. And they are amazing professors. You people are going to love it. It's such a good partnership. Like, I couldn't be more excited. So anyways, the first cohort for this partnership is going to start February of 2019. So be thinking about that. There's more information at the Eduro website. That's edurolearning.com, and over at the COETAIL website, which is COETAIL.com. So you can find all the information there. Also, when you're at the Eduro website, look up the Connected Teacher Micro-Credential. It is getting started pretty close to the same timeline, actually.
A little bit sooner. So if you're thinking that you want something that is a little bit sooner, that the cart opens October 1st, I think. And then the cohort starts, I think, November 15th. Yeah. So if you just can't wait, that's an option. But then with COETAIL as well, one caveat is it starts February, but because we're now partnering with the University of Kentucky, you do have to apply to the University of Kentucky, which I promise is way better than it used to be, because I had to take the GRE.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to do that. Yeah.
No, you don't have to do that. So that was super stressful. Yeah. But for University of Kentucky, you do have to apply in December, December 1st. So,
and we'll have all that information out to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So make sure you're signed up for the newsletters over at coetal.com, edurolearning.com. Follow COETAIL and Eduro on all the social medias. Follow Lissa on social media. What's your handle on Twitter?
It's at MME Layman, Layman.
There you go. So there you go, Madame. So you can follow her on Twitter and keep up with all of the great excitement. This only broke last week. We've been working on this for, it feels like forever. But personally, we've been talking with the University of Kentucky. I think 2 years ago, we started this conversation, and then it kind of fell away, and then we kind of came back to it. But we've been full steam ahead for about the last 6 months of really starting to put things in place. So I don't want people to think oh, this just happened. This has been a lot of work behind the scenes.
We've had to keep our lips sealed for a while.
It's been really hard. Some of us have been better at keeping our lips sealed than others. Me, other. I have a hard time keeping this stuff in. So anyways, that's, thank you for doing what you do and dealing with the hot ball of mess. And I'm so excited that we've got you to deal with it, because you've been through both programs, and you're the only one that has that picture, right? That has that picture of what this is going to look like. And so we're so excited for that. And thank you for being part of the Eduro team.
Thank you.
And thanks for being part of it. We love it. So we'll talk to you later.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Lissa. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. I hope you found something useful in there as we try to explain how powerful of a partnership this is going to be with the University of Kentucky. We're so excited. You're going to want to stay tuned for more. So make sure you download our free PDFs, get on our mailing list. That's where all of this news is going to be breaking. Lissa is keeping up social media. So follow COETAIL on social media. Sign up for the COETAIL mailing list. You can do that over at coetail.com. Again, this is all in the show notes as well. But just really excited about the future of this. And this is the first micro-credential that we have that we're partnering with University of Kentucky, and there's already talk of more coming. So you can kind of see where we're going here. So we're so excited about this. Until next time, we'll see you on the network.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Shifting Our Schools with your host, Jeff Udick. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit sospodcast.org, facebook.com/Jeff Udick, and on Twitter @JUdick. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on Shifting Our Schools.